So, we're still in the middle of the summer landing event, but recently we could get our hands on the first reward ship, Aviere. Sitting at rank 3 with a BR 4.0, she's armed with 4 120mm guns in 2 mounts, one at the front and one at the rear. They're the same guns as you can find on Corazziere and only Corazziere. For some reason all Italian destroyers have different guns, but that's a topic for a different video. This is the first Italian destroyer with these guns that I've played, and I must say they're rather nice. These guns get the choice between high explosive, armor piercing and high explosive time fuse. I personally recommend primarily using the armor piercing shells, as they're ideal for knocking out engines of enemy destroyers, which hold a lot of crew. The high explosive time fuse is a rather lackluster anti-air shell, and I personally don't use it, but I also don't have the best crews when it comes to the Italians. Be sure to experiment yourself. The high explosive has its purpose for knocking out turrets and torpedo tubes a bit easier than the armor piercing, though the armor piercing is also good enough for this as long as you can get direct hits. Talking about direct hits, the dispersion in these guns are very nice. Vertically there's practically no variation, meaning that when you fire at a certain range or height, they'll hit at that range or height 99% of the time. Horizontally it's a bit more random, but still not that bad. The guns certainly need getting used to, but they'll treat you well with their dispersion. The good things don't end yet, with the turret rotation also being fast enough where you don't have to worry about suddenly switching targets to the other side of your ship. But now we have the negative, the rate of fire. The reload varies from 9.75 to 7.5 seconds depending on the crew, with mine only having a reload of 9.6 seconds for now. This combined with the fact that Aviere only has 4 guns doesn't help either. Aviere is quickly outgunned by her peers and even ships of lower battle ratings. You definitely want to position Aviere so you can quickly disengage when you start taking fire. As for her anti-aircraft firepower, Aviere has a total of 8 20mm guns and 4 dual mounts. It doesn't sound bad, but the Italian 20mm aren't quite up to par. Having a low rate of fire and with only 12 rounds per barrel before having to reload, they can be a bit of a problem with low level crews, like I have. I can't say how good they become with higher level crews, but I believe it should be somewhat reliable at defending itself from dive and torpedo bombers. But it won't cover friendlies too much. And for the final armament, torpedoes. Aviere carries 6 in total in 2 triple launchers. These have a payload of 270 kg of TNT, and depending on whether the torpedo mode modification is enabled, which it is by default when getting Aviere, have a range of 4 km and a speed of 74 km an hour, or a range of 13 km and a speed of 44 km an hour. As you can see, the torpedo mode modification drastically changes the characteristics of these torpedoes. I would recommend unequipping the torpedo mode, as you will almost never hit anything at the ranges you gain with it. But now onto the other characteristics, starting off with the mobility. Aviere is rather fast with a top speed of 65 km an hour, and her turning circle and responsiveness to the helm are more than sufficient to go wherever you'd want without being too concerned about the maneuvering space. When it comes to the armor protection, there isn't much to talk about. The hull and superstructure are made out of 16 and 4mm of structural steel each. The only other armor there is on the main guns, with them having 12mm of anti-frag armor. So all in all, nothing special. And to continue with the format, playstyle. Aviere is an all-whites 4.0, but certainly outgunned in a direct 1v1. I suggest finding an island and setting up camp. Aviere has the mobility to quickly duck in and out of cover, and with her armor-piercing shells, she can easily shoot the engines of hostile destroyers, doing crippling damage. But be sure to quickly duck into cover again so you don't get punished in return. In short, I'd say you have to be careful of Aviere. She isn't the best, but she's certainly no slouch either. But now onto the more important stuff. Is she worth it? If you manage to get her for free by just doing the tasks, she isn't a bad reward. But if you're planning on spending money to complete even a single star for her, just don't. Sure, she might be a nice destroyer to research the Italian tree with, but even for 1,000 golden eagles is a questionable purchase. For example, the British Jervis is 1,000 golden eagles, period. And for 1,300 golden eagles you can get your hands on USS Moffat, for many the best premium destroyer GE can buy. And not to mention that if you want to buy Aviere for 1,000 golden eagles, that's the cheapest you could buy her for, and would still require 4 stars to be done for free. Her maximum price is a ludicrous 5,000 golden eagles, which is a blatant rip-off for what you'd get. If you can get Aviere for free, enjoy her, which is really not worth even 1,000 golden eagles. Oh, and not to forget that her camouflage is locked behind the next star. But if you want Aviere plus her camouflage, it's even more pricey. Now, I'll return to getting more stars for the other rewards. But I hope to see you in the next one. Good luck, and good hunting out on the seas for the rest of this event.